Apple has authoritatively declared the new iPhone SE, a lower-cost iPhone that begins at $399 for a rendition with 64 GB of capacity. It has a similar fundamental shape and look as the iPhone 8, which implies it has a 4.7-inch screen, huge bezels on the top and base, and a home catch with Contact ID. It's a plan that has remained predictable since the iPhone 6, which makes the iPhone SE basically the fifth era of that equivalent look. Apple realizes this plan well. It is accessible for pre-order this Friday, April 17th, and it will transport on April 24th. There will be a 128 GB model offered for $449 and a 256 GB model for $549. Like different iPhones, it will accompany a free year of Apple Television in addition to. It will come in dark, white, and item red. The iPhone SE is basically an iPhone 8 with a superior camera and processor and a lower sticker price. Despite the fact that it's a moderately old structure, this iPhone SE has Apple's A13 Bionic chip, a similar that is accessible in the most recent iPhone 11 and 11 Master models. That ought to guarantee that it has any longer life expectancy than the $449 iPhone 8 model that it's supplanting in Apple's lineup, which had an A11 chip from 2017. There won't be a larger measured adaptation of the second-age iPhone SE, yet the iPhone 8 or more will keep on being sold in specific markets. The processor likewise lets the new iPhone SE increase some new camera highlights. There's a solitary 12-megapixel camera focal point on the back, alongside a blaze. Apple says it's utilizing the A13 Bionics chips to improve its savvy HDR photography, which joins various shots into a solitary photograph to improve lighting and detail. It additionally has a picture mode with innovation Apple calls monocular profundity detecting. It utilizes AI to distinguish profundity and countenances, which, tragically, implies that it will just take a shot at individuals, not pets. It incorporates optical picture adjustment, and Apple says it can do true-to-life adjustment on record just as help 4K video at 60 fps. The forward-looking selfie camera is 7 megapixels, and it can likewise do representation mode impacts. A considerable lot of the new second-age iPhone SE parts are indistinguishable from the iPhone 8. It ought to have about a similar battery life as the iPhone 8, however no word on precise battery size. Apple says that cases intended for the iPhone 8 will work fine on the SE. It has Apple's 4.7-inch IPS LCD Retina show with genuine tone shading. It seems as if it's precisely the same showcase as what's on the iPhone 8. That is not an issue from a quality point of view. This IPS show is notable and all around respected, however it means that individuals who were waiting for a littler telephone are up the creek without a paddle. Apple says this is the most mainstream screen size it has ever sold, 500 million gadgets and checking, and that is a piece of the explanation it's utilizing this screen size at this point. It just accompanies a small 5W charger in the case, however it can bolster 18W quick charging in the event that you have the correct connector. It utilizes a Lightning connector for charging, obviously, and it will likewise bolster Qi remote charging. There is no earphone jack, yet it will accompany Lightning earphones in the crate. Balancing a portion of the other modernized specs, it bolsters Wi-Fi 6, Gigabit LTE, and double SIMs. The subsequent one is an eSIM, be that as it may. It additionally bolsters haptic touch, which is Apple's substitution for 3D contact, adding up to a long press with haptic input. The 2020 iPhone SE is another major cell phone discharge coming amidst the pandemic. The SE's lower cost and Contact ID sensor may have somewhat more intrigue than expected, particularly as individuals understand that they'll be wearing covers all the more regularly. Apple noticed that it accepts that individuals are relying upon their telephones like never before this moment, however there's no way to avoid the way that its physical stores are shut. Apple's site and application offer great client care, yet it is not yet clear what the hunger for new telephones will be at this moment. Best Purchase will offer curbside pickup at areas where that is accessible. The iPhone SE resembles a generally excellent arrangement by and large. It's a $400 telephone with what gives off an impression of being a solid camera and exactly the same processor that is in Apple's most costly iPhones. As noted over, that implies a telephone bought today ought to get programming refreshes for a long time to come. Concluding whether it's a decent telephone should hang tight for a full survey, however I speculate in excess of a couple of individuals who have been sitting tight for this telephone will be somewhat frustrated. The first iPhone SE from 2016 is cherished to a limited extent since it was so little contrasted with most different cell phones. It had a similar structure as the iPhone 5 and keeping in mind that screen is modest by the present models, it likewise still feels like a progressively regular size for a few. Apple quit selling the first SE in 2018. For individuals who thought the iPhone 6, iPhone 7, and iPhone 8 were excessively huge, the second-age iPhone SE is probably not going to adjust their perspectives. However, plainly telephone screens are largely going to be enormous starting now and into the foreseeable future, which makes 4.7 inches the new little.